It's a fun thing to say and to believe that the U.S. is energy independent, but it's not correct. We are the world's largest producer of crude oil today, with roughly 13.5 million barrels of oil per day, which is more than Saudi Arabia. That is something that's changed over the last 10 years. There are benefits to the U.S. of that being the case. However, I don't think it's at all fair to say that we shouldn't be worried about what's happening in the Middle East because we produce more oil than anybody else, for a couple different reasons. One, there's different types of oil, and what the U.S. produces is different than what we get from the Middle East, and inputs to make gasoline and jet fuel and other petroleum products vary a great deal. So we cannot exist on our own with the 13.5 million barrels that of the type of crude oil that the U.S. produces. So that being said, there are benefits to the U.S., not necessarily to U.S. consumers, but to the U.S. as an economy, of being the world's largest oil producer and having oil prices be elevated. So, of course, the big oil companies are able to make more money when they're selling a product that they're taking out of the ground for roughly the same cost as it was a year ago, and they can sell it for a higher price today. That's a benefit to U.S. oil companies. That being said, if the disruption in the Middle East continues and oil prices stay elevated, or even were to go up another 50 or 100% from where they are globally, that would end up being a real problem for other parts of the U.S. economy. For instance, consumers. The expense of driving and transportation would go up. The input costs for all sorts of things that we buy, our companies make. They use petroleum to make anything that's made out of plastic. A lot of clothing companies use a lot of petroleum, not to mention the cost of getting goods from A to B. So inflation is something to really keep a close eye on, and we haven't seen it hit the data points just yet. But like I said in the first question, the window is closing pretty quickly for this to end up being a non-issue.